all right. We are live. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Heat Check Live Beat Review Show right here on YouTube. Yes, indeed. I am your host, Desmond A., and I want to say thank you so much for joining the Heat Check. Let me go ahead and update that right there. Thank you so much for joining the Heat Check Live Beat Review Show right here on YouTube. I want to say thank you to all the producers who have submitted for this week's show. It is always greatly appreciated. Um, Guys, don't forget, I have a new loop pack coming out next month, so you guys are definitely going to enjoy that. Still cooking that up. Still have that in the lab cooking up. A new loop pack on the way. Um, Also, make sure you guys check out the previous Made in the Studio podcast episodes. Definitely grinded out last month. It took a lot out of me. But yes, definitely has some very valuable episodes. All the episodes are valuable, but check out those past few episodes. Guys are definitely going to appreciate that. More to come. Should have some new episodes coming up in August. And yeah, speaking of that, I will be at the Mixnick event for producers and engineers out here in Atlanta. So if you guys are out here in Atlanta, you run into me at SAE, say what's up, say what's going on. I'll be glad to chop it up with you guys and meet people in person. If you're not going to be there, guys, please come down to these different networking events and fellowship with your fellow producers, fellow engineers, fellow studio professionals. It's not enough to just see each other on YouTube. You get to walk up on people and shake their hand and show appreciation and show love to the community. So those type of events are always good. So if you have an opportunity to hit one, definitely please do it. It's kind of a mind trip to see people that you see on YouTube all the time in person, because it feels like a celebrity, so it's always kind of a weird thing that happens, but it's like, hey, that's you. So definitely, guys, check those things out. um yeah, so I think that's pretty much it for announcements. So guys, if this is your first time here at the Heat Check Live Beat Review Show, you might be wondering, who am I? Well, my name is Desmond A. I've been producing music for over 12 years now. Have music on different platforms, networks like E-Television, Bravo, Sci-Fi. Work with different artists out here in Atlanta, independent artists, recorded them, made beats for them on the spot, sold beats online, selling beats online. Man, podcast host, YouTuber, um, worked in studios. Man, I've done a little bit in a lot of different places over my career. So that's what gives me my perspective, my tenure, my ability to hear things and see things a certain way to give you guys more value as producers. So that's what qualifies me to have a show such as the Heat Check Live Beat Review Show. So guys, here at the Heat Check Live Beat Review Show, couple of ground rules here. There's no snapping, no roasting, nothing like that. This is not the platform for that. We like to have fun, but at the same time, we want to keep things productive and constructive. It's kind of like going to a dojo or a boxing gym. Does your boxing coach say that's a whack jab, and then just kind of giggle at you? Tee hee hee, that's a whack jab. I see y'all them comments, man. Y'all be giggling. So does he do that, or does he say, hey, wait a minute, come here. Let me show you something. Keep your hand up when you jab. Keep your hand up when you jab. See, they give you real actionable steps to help you improve. And that's the same thing that we do here at the Heat Check. So if you rock out with that, if you appreciate that, then definitely stay here, because that's the type of time we're on. We're here to build each other up, not, get some laughs off at each other's expense, or just kind of just be here wasting time. We're here to grow and show love to each other, guys. So, I have my Discord pinned in the comments. I have my Discord in the description. So join the Discord, chop it up with your fellow producers. Y'all DM each other on Discord. We have loop makers on Discord. We have all types of good stuff on my Discord. So check that out in the description. Meet up, network with your fellow producers, and y'all collab and do your thing. here to help you guys grow. So that's what I'm here for. So yeah, yes, that is about it. So also the free submissions open at the end of the stream. So once the stream ends, that's when the free submissions open, and then it closes at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's when the free submission window is. After that, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's what the VIP skip the line. So you just pay $10 to have your music played on this very stream. And also, if you're a recording artist, we accept recording artists with the VIP skip the line pass. So this is primarily a producer show, but if you do have that VIP skip the line pass, we will accept recording artists. And like I said recently, I have been noticing a trend with recording artists who submit on this show. They tend to be talented. So those artists who decide to invest in themselves, man, we're never disappointed. Our ears don't hurt. You know, we're not like cringing. You know, you guys see some of those shows where it's just the artists submit and it's just like, man, I kind of feel like it's making my body uneasy, like listening to this music. But with those VIP skip the line, there's something about people who are willing to pay. It's not even about me. It's about you investing in yourself to be seen. You know, I don't have the biggest following yet, but my following is valuable, especially you guys see my podcast. We have important people keeping an eye on things around here at Desmond A Sounds YouTube channel. So always keep that in mind. Always keep that in mind. Don't let the number fool you right now. It's about the quality of subscribers. So, and I do have a very quality subscriber base. But yes, that's enough of that. You guys didn't come here to hear Unc Yap. You came to get your beats reviewed. So let's go ahead and get here. All right, perfect. Got FL Studio pulled up, and we're going to go ahead and start from the top. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, our first submission of the day is coming from Ace Bradley. This one is called I Can Take You There. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ace Bradley with I Can Take You There. Thank you so much for your submission, Ace Bradley. And we definitely appreciate you for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Ace Bradley. A couple things with that beat. Number one, I did like the texture of that melodic element you had. I don't know if it was a loop or something you played and just kind of drenched in effects. But I did like it. I like how the chord turnaround was a little bit a little bit dissonant. It made me a little uncomfortable, but you did it in an artistic way where it still worked. It's right at that borderline, but it did still work. Um, that being said, there's a couple things that I heard with that beat. Um, Number one, we had the melody going, and then the drums just felt very disconnected. I want to say, I want to say, sound selection wasn't good, but it's almost like the loudness of the drums was like so hard and up here that it felt disconnected from the rest of the music. It almost felt like there wasn't really any type of blend. So, Ace Bradley, I would really want you to spend a moment here in the mixer. Let me make sure you guys can see it. Okay. Spend a moment here in the mixer, really working on getting things balanced. So having your melody going and then pulling up the kick and making sure the kick fits and then pulling up the snare and making sure the snare fits. Now, one thing I talk a lot about is having an anchor sound. When I say anchor sound, a sound where you always know what dB is hitting at right here in the meter. For me, it's typically around 12, typically around 15. I usually use the kick to always know where I'm at. So that way, if I'm blending in a loop, an instrument, always know where, it's like my North Star. I'll always know where that kick is. So I know if I pull up a melody, where I want that melody to be in relationship to that kick. Then I know where the snare is going to be in relationship to that kick, where the bass is going to be in relationship to that kick. And that keeps me level set. That's like my one point that I know if something is off or too loud or doesn't quite feel right, I'm like, okay, the kick is good no matter what. So something else is going on. And let me make sure where that something else is in relationship to that kick. So I want you to work on that volume balancing, because that leads us into the second thing that I have written down here, which is the 808 was also overloaded. It was also too much. It was over the melody a bit too much. So we want to just get the sounds more balanced with each other. And also, it sounded like that 808 was out of key as well. Let me take a listen. Yeah, that 808 is somewhat all. It even sounds like you let your 808s run into each other. When I say 808s running into each other, let me show you what I mean by that. Hopefully my hard drive will work today. Okay. Okay, I just have this little baby 808. So when I say 808s running into each other, I mean this. It creates a floppy, wobbly sound. So you just want to make sure, if you're using FL Studio or whatever DAW you're using, you want to make sure that the so it might be something like, in whatever DAW you're using, it might be like mono something. Here in FL Studio, this is just what I do. I've heard there's more ways to do this. Oh, let me make sure it's on the screen. I heard there's more ways to do this, which is to do max polyphony at 1, and then I click on Porta, and the 808 always doesn't run into each other. So you want to do that as well. And then if you're having an issue getting your 808s in key, like I was hearing in that beat, to this day, guys, I'm telling you, I've done so many beats. I produce so many different songs. It's really for independent artists, so many songs. And I still have to do the higher key 808 to make sure it's correct. Because is this in key with the rest of the music? This? See, I always have to do that to make sure that it's actually locked in melodically. Still have to make sure make sure I'm pushing the 808s an octave up, or 2, even sometimes 2 octaves, and then making sure it matches the melody of the music. So to this day, I still have to do that. It's no shame in my game. So you might want to do that as well, Ace, to make sure that your 808s are in key. So hopefully that was clear. Thank you so much, Ace, for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Shout out to you. All right, all right, all right. Moving forward, we have Ace Bradley with The Four. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, give my feedback. So let's take a listen. Sorry about that. Make sure I start from the top and crank up the volume. All right.
Damn, boy. TRB did that?
This is a Forest K production.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the second submission of the night by Ace Bradley. This one is called The Four. So shout out to you, Ace Bradley. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Ace Bradley, man, that beat was so much better, so much more locked in. Maybe that's a sound and a style that you're more used to, you're more accustomed to making, because I could just tell by the feel and even the kick and the, I guess you can call it a snare in that beat. It just fit the texture of the rest of the music much better. So this type of beat, man, is really ready for a songwriter. I could tell you to add certain things, like here, I was hearing a snap in my head, like right here in this breakdown. Like a little thing like that I was hearing in my head, but it's not completely necessary. And even when we came into the hook, I was hearing like maybe even adding like a little lead sound just to help separate things. You know, adding a lead or something just to break it up a little bit. But honestly, those are optional. A songwriter needs all their space to do what they need to do to the beat and really make it an actual song. So those little things could help, but I always say it's better to have too few sounds in a beat than to have too many sounds in the beat. It's better to give the artist or the songwriter too much room than to give them too little room where they're fighting little bells and melodies. Unless you can do it musically and tastefully, that's fine. But if I'm like fighting between two ideas, I'm like, I want to add that, I want to add that. Always err on the side of caution by having too few sounds. So this is cool. So As far as constructive feedback, since this is the live beat review show, like I said, this is fine. This is just ready for a songwriter. Only thing I could think of is on the bass. If you can add a little distortion, doesn't have to be too much. It works perfectly fine now. This is just like a taste thing. If you can add a little bit of even like a little saturation. I don't know if you've possibly have this. I actually used I used my own plugin not too long ago to add a little extra distortion. So if you want to get my FLD bass on my website, and then also we have, that's the wrong one. Then also we have CLA bass. I actually showed this to someone in the studio not too long ago, and they didn't know about it. So we never, all of us are students, man. None of us have all the answers. So yeah, CLA bass. You can even this is a good thing to kind of change your bass. So if you want to give it more sub, more bite, more compression, more sub, so you can even play around with this slider and probably this treble slider on that bass. You can be surprised what kind of cool shifting and what kind of cool things you can get out of CLA bass. So that's another cool plugin. And of course my FLD bass, I use my own stuff. You can get that at DesmondASounds.com. But yeah, like I said, Ace Bradley, this one is ready for a songwriter. So go ahead and make sure you go into open mics or jumping on Instagram, TikTok, finding people who write songs. Go ahead and email them. Follow up and email consistently. That's a big thing that I kind of mess up on, is following up multiple times. So yeah, don't do that, guys. Actually follow up with people. So yeah, shout out to you, Ace Bradley. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you in the chat. All right. Let me go ahead and type that. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a Heat Check regular. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Voteezy in the building. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Voteezy with Welcome Home. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. So let's take a listen.
Pop that Ollie.
That's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Voteezy with Welcome Home. Shout out to you, Voteezy. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Voteezy. Man, another good beat. You have these good switch ups. I like the way you had that one synth sound. It almost sounds like something is dropping. Like I like that. I've heard it sound like that for people who use Reason. I don't think you use Reason, but I have heard that sound, or similar sounds, and for people who use Reason. But yeah, man, good beat. The beat switches up. It's not too much going on, or you have a good amount of stuff going on, but there's still enough room for the vocalist, the rapper. I want to check one thing out here, though. Let me hear. So for that kind of flute sound you got going on there, Voteezy, you think you can pan it like, because what I'm thinking about is the recording artist in the studio locked in, like rapping to this beat, and I want that vocal when they're listening and playing it back. I want that vocal to be right in the middle, and I don't want that flute to interfere at all. So I'm thinking we can pan it. So have that, pan it left and right. You could do it. I'm sure you know how to do it, Voteezy. But just trying to get that flute out the way a little bit, so when they're snapping and they're not like nothing's in the way. But I like that sound. I think we could pan that a little bit just for the artist. But yeah, other than that, man, another fire beat, Voteezy. Keep going. Keep cooking up. Keep doing your thing, man. Always cooking up fire. All right. Got another submission right here tonight by Voteezy. This one is called Distant. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. Let's take a listen. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the second submission of the night from Voteezy. That one was called Distant. Thank you so much for submitting tonight, Voteezy. Your submissions are always greatly appreciated. Now, it's one thing I wanted to hear for another time. Let me hear. All right, Volteezy, that effects that came in right there, that one's a little loud. So if I can get you to just pull the volume of that down, probably like 3 dB. Probably like 3 dB, that should be fine. It just kind of like jumped out a little bit too much. So they pulled out that trickle down effect, just pull it down, like let it flow with the rest of the music a little bit more. And this is kind of a judgment call, Volteezy. Let me know. Okay, I think that'll work. What I was listening for is just to make sure that an artist would have enough room for a hook. Like if it's a lead vocal, then they have it stacked with other vocals. I want to make sure that there's enough space, but I think this is gonna work. And I don't think there's too much going on for an artist to actually, that's gonna interfere with them being able to write a hook. Because Volteezy, I really, you already know how to make, fire beats. But my thing is making sure that there's nothing in that path of a recording artist like saying, okay, I'll get back to this later, even though it's a fire beat. Like I mentioned before, man, I've seen artists in the studio pull up the most insane beat. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then they'll be like, next. I'm like, next. So that's why I don't want another producer who's not as talented as Volteezy to get that spot just because the other producer like did less and then the artist wanted to make the beat their own, because you already have fire beats. We're just making sure that the path for the artist is completely smooth. So yeah, I think this will work. Just lower the volume of that effects and you'll be good to go, man. Volteezy always come with the fire, man. Always coming with the fire. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, before we move forward to Millie Beat submission, guys, make sure you go to DesmondASounds.com. I have free FL Studio Patcher plugins, free loops, got Spanish guitar loops. I got Afrobeat guitar loops, got percussion loops, free guides. I got guides on how to network with people via Instagram. Also, I have a masterclass. It's a paid masterclass, but it's worth the investment, called DMs to Dollars, where I break down my strategy on how I've sold beats on Instagram. It's a strategy that's not burnt out. People don't know how to do it. So if you want to invest and get the DMs to Dollar masterclass, you can go ahead and get that. Or if you're not quite ready yet, go ahead and get the Instagram beat selling guide that's right there in the description. And you can also get it at DesmondASounds.com. That's where you can find everything, DesmondASounds.com. All right, so yeah, moving forward, we have a Heat Check regular Millie Beats with Dirty Money. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
God damn, Millie, you bad.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Millie Beats with Dirty Money. Millie Beats, thank you so much for submitting right here on this week's Heat Check. Now, Millie Beats, another good beat, man. You've really refined your sound over the, let's say, months, year, about a few months now. You've really refined your sounds now, and man, it's getting to the point where it's almost impossible for me to tell that you're using something like FL Studio Mobile. And it's, at first I could kind of tell, and then over time you've grown and grown and grown, and you sold your first beat, which I'm super proud of. You know, shout out to you, Millie Beats, selling your first beat. It's always super rewarding, man. I can't tell you, man. Every time I see my beat sales notification hit my email, I'm always grateful, man. I'm like, thank you so much. As many as, not to say that I'm like the big dog on campus, but anytime I get that, I'm like, man, people still want to invest in my music. So I'm always grateful. So that's a great feeling, Millie Beats. And now you're getting to that point where you've passed the hump and you're polishing your sound more and more. And this beat, I couldn't tell if this was made on FL Studio Mobile. Somebody played this in the studio and said this was made on FL Studio Mobile. I'll be like, man, show me, because I don't believe it. So yes, just even your sound selection is getting better. I could just tell by the little type of leads that you added to the beat. It's getting better, more refined. Your ears are getting sharper. That being said, Millie Beats, you know, I can hear that you're challenging yourself a bit more. So you're pushing your limits. You're pushing yourself on sound now. I can hear it, especially in the instrumentation. I have given you a little bit of pushback as far as your arrangement. Sometimes it goes, you know, straight into the drop where it goes almost back to the intro, which is something I do myself. But sometimes I want the beat to just drop in and hit us, and then we get into the, you know, but that's, it could go either way, but I just want you to just push yourself a little bit more when it comes to arrangements. You know, rap to yourself out loud, sing to yourself out loud, make sure it still makes sense structure wise. But yeah, I do want to hear you experiment just a little bit more. But good beat. Getting better and better, man. Just getting more and more polished. Shout out to you, Millie Beats. All right. Moving forward, we have Millie Beats with Codes. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. So let's take a listen.
God damn, Millie, you're bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Millie Beats with Codes. Shout out to you, Millie Beats, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Millie Beats, man, another good beat. I was feeling there's something. Okay, the clap was cool, but it's kind of like a somewhat of an engineering thing that's getting me. There's like a little frequency build up in that clap that I personally always like to take out with my EQ. So I'm not going to explain it to you. It's doing way too much. But I just want to, let's just say I want to clap with a cleaner mid-range. So it sounds like, it's almost like the mid-range of the clap feels a little muffled. Which this is... Yeah, this is a taste thing. It's just what I would do if I had access to that clap is I would, this is kind of nerdy, man. I would go in there, I would pull out some of the low mid-range of that clap just a little bit, and it's gonna bloom and open it up more, and then I would kiss it with the reverb and then blend it back in. So that's doing way too much, Millie Beats. Don't worry about that. I would say just try swapping out that clap with one that you think fits a little bit better. And then if you could kiss it with some reverb, then go ahead and do that. It's going to help it blend a little bit better. Other than that, the overall beat, you know, is the, you know, what we come to expect. I will say we can even experiment by pushing the BPM of this beat up maybe 2 BPMs. Just try it out and then see how you flow on it, see how you rock out on it. Push it up 2 BPMs or move it down 1 BPM. Let's see what feels better. We have all the flexibility with these DAWs. Just experiment and see which one feels a bit better, which gives you a better bop, which gives you a better rock. So, you know, go ahead and try those things out and see which one fits better. The Moog bass that you have here, I'm not mad at it, but it's giving me like a little too throwback vibes. It's like I'm kind of picturing older, like just that sound selection makes me picture like older guys buying your beat, which could be cool. You know, older people tend to have more money, but just that Moog bass just felt real, almost like I'm watching like Menace to Society or something, which could be a good thing. But I'm thinking let's experiment with a different Moog bass. It's just a little bit more modern. Let's just swap that out with something else, see if it gives you more of that modern YG type of feel, you know, as opposed to a little too 90s. I'm just picturing like, you know, older cats on that beat. But shout out to you, Millie Beats. Shout out to you, Millie Beats. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. All right. Shout out to you. Quasi in the building. I see you. All right. People showing love in the chat. Moving forward, we have Tafara, a Heat Check regular with Sick. All right. I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. So let's take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Tafara with Sick. Shout out to you, Tafara, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Tafara always coming through with the musical vibes, man. Oh, shout out to you, Tafara. Shout out to you, and keep working on your studies, man. I know you're out there grinding on your education, so definitely appreciate you still finding time to cook up some fire beats. Now, Tafara, I understood the vision of what you were trying to accomplish with that instrumental. I'm familiar with that type of music. A couple of things there that I just want to tighten a couple things up just so we can just nail and really land what you were trying to hit, really have things on the bullseye. Number one, that kick that you had I just felt like we could have selected a better kick. So just go through your sounds and try to find a kick with more. I would say a harder kick. Try to find a harder kick. That kick felt very soft and punchy, which you would think would go with this, but let's swap that out. Try to find a harder kick and then play it with the rest of the music. Also the piano that you had going on there, the main piano, that main grand piano sound that you had there, it almost sounded like that piano, when I heard it, it sounded like that piano, it sounded like it was clicked on the grid. It sounded like I was hearing just straight something like this. Dun, and then dun, and then dun. Like however it was done, it was very like quantized and very straight right there on the grid. So when it comes to making the piano feel more musical, that main grand piano, more musical, more realistic, if you are clicking it in, kind of mess with the velocity a little bit, because a real piano player is not going to be playing everything, all the keys exactly with the same force, the same velocity each time. So you want to make the piano sound more realistic. So kind of mess around with the velocity a little bit. Then you can also mess around with some of the notes, even something slight like that, like moving the note off a little bit, could just make things sound more realistic. A real piano player is not perfectly on grid, on time, with the same amount of force for each chord. So we want to just do little things like this just to make things feel a bit more natural. So if we can fix the piano, that main piano, fix that kick, that's going to put us in a much better place to actually hit right there, hit on the bullseye what you're trying to accomplish with this beat. Because musically, this is a good beat, but we just have to get that feel more organic. So if we tighten that up, I think that'll be it. Let me skip around. Yeah, I'm not mad at that bass patch that you selected, Tafara. I'm not mad at it. A part of me wish, I don't even want to put it out there, the bass will still work, because a part of me wants to have a bass that has a bit more of a live feel to it, but finding those type of basses are pretty difficult, especially finding a free one. One that sounds like a live bass guitar. This one called Ample Bass P Lite. You can find that online for free. So even if you don't want to use it for this beat, Tafara, you can get Ample Bass P Lite too. So just Google that. You'll find it for free. I've used it a couple times. It's not working on this computer. I got to reinstall it. yeah, so if you want to experiment with live sounding bass, you can get that. But yeah, this is cool for now. That bass will work for now. But shout out to you, Tafara. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Yes, indeed. Sounds like a 90s Bay Area beat. Cool beat. Could be used in a lot of different ways. It could. I was hearing like kind of a soundtrack type of vibe. I was hearing like maybe a singer like Thames, her maybe singing to something like that. So yeah, it could go a couple different ways. All right. Moving forward, we have Tafara with another submission tonight, which is Get Closer to Me. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. So let's take a listen. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Tafara with his second submission of the night with Get Closer to Me. Shout out to you, Tafara, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Tafara, that beat went a couple different directions. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So in this intro here, that's one groove, and my expectations, I felt like the beat was about to take me in a more minor chord direction. Like, let's just say Burna Boy's Bundle by Bundle. That's the kind of field I thought that the beat was gonna go in. That was gonna go from here and really get like a real, like, man, like, make you want to be in the nightclub and just, turning up and stuff like that. But then we went in a more upbeat pop direction. Which is fine, but it almost feels like you can keep this part and create a separate beat from this using what I said, like taking it in a more minor chord direction. Once again, listen to that Bundle by Burna Boy and kind of take inspiration from that, because I think we can build on that part with that vocal sample and the groove of the percussion. So I feel like we can just build a separate beat from that. This, if we were going to treat this as another beat, watch the live bass that you have going on there, Tafara. And so it sounds like you play bass, or someone you know plays bass, Tafara. That part of the bass got a little active, which it sounds good to producers, but if we're gonna put this in the context of a final song, that bass is doing a little too much. We want the bass to kind of just keep with the groove of the music and keep people moving. So let's try to simplify that part right there. And honestly, Tafara, when I separate that intro vocal sample and groove from everything else, I'm much more satisfied because I feel like my expectations are more locked into this more pop type of feel, this pop type of vibe. So let's separate these two and create two separate beats, and I'm much more satisfied. So let's keep your project and whatever DAW that you're using, and then just break things down into two separate beats, and you'll be good to go from there. All right, so shout out to you, Tafara. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up today's show, man. So last week ran a little long, so I apologize. Last week I had to run a little bit early, guys. So, this week we wrapped up a little bit early, so I didn't run this time. But yeah, shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for all your submissions. Once again, if you guys are in the Atlanta area, and if you will be at SAE, I will be at SAE at the Mixnick Music Producer, Music Engineer Conference. I'm excited to meet you guys. I'm excited to see all the gear and hear all the different microphones and hear all the different headphones and hear all the different compressors and, see what VSTs are coming up down the pipeline. I was able to hear some of what Suno sounded like a little bit early. I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but at the last Mixnick, our Suno was there and I was able to hear some things. So yeah, I was like, I knew what things were going to sound like prior to everyone else hearing what it would sound like. So I'm excited to see if something like that's going to happen. So yes, I will be at SAE tomorrow. So if you see me, run up, holla at me. I'll be glad to show you guys love, and I'm excited to see some of the people who've been on my podcast tomorrow. So I'm excited to see them in person. Hopefully I can scout out some more people to get on the podcast, run down on them and tell them you need to be on my podcast. So yes, I'm definitely going to do that. So guys, in the meantime, once again, go to DesmondASounds.com. Make sure you guys hit subscribe. New loop pack on the way, coming in August. I'm updating my content style for my videos, my long form videos. That's why you didn't see any videos this week. I'm in the layer, coming up with some new stuff for you guys. You're definitely going to enjoy it. So yes, the forum will be open for next Friday's show. I'm going to make that post in the next 2-3 minutes, so we guys can lock in. Guys, we can lock in for next Friday's show. Another great heat check. The software that I use, Kwame. What's up, Kwame? How you doing, Kwame? I see you, Kwame. The name of the software that I used is called FL Studio. That's the name of the software that I use for music, and then the software that I use for streaming, if that's the question, is called OBS. O as in Oscar, B as in boy, S as in Samantha. So those are the programs that I'm using right here. So yeah, guys, another great show, another great stream. Y'all be safe. Have a good weekend. Have a good week. And I will see you guys next Friday, 9:30 Eastern Standard.